everyone, it's Darby from rejoiceandcreate.com. Thanks for stopping by today. Well, the projects in this video and the next video that goes along with this one were inspired by these. And what these are pre-cut card bases, and they're the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, originally 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and folded in half at 4 1/4. But they come in boxes of many different colors and patterns and the envelopes that come with them. Well, I was recently at Michael's and I saw some really pretty ones which I thought I might want to get, but then I stopped myself realizing how many I have at home already. So I thought I'd devise some projects that go with these. Now I created 3 projects that were with a complete card base, and I created 3 projects that were just a half of a card base, so you can get 2 from one card base. And we're going to start with the simpler ones that are just 1/2 of a card base. Now if you don't have the card bases, all you need to start for the half of ones is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that will be the first 3 projects which I'll be doing today. So let me show you the projects that I made. Alright, so these are the projects that were created with 1/2 of the card base. It made a cute little basket, and I decorated it for Easter, but you can make it for birthdays or other celebrations as well. I made a cute little, kind of like a crayon box, although it is glued on the bottom, and it holds a little Ghirardelli. And I also made a teeny tiny little milk carton. Now there may be some milk cartons out there which are about the same size. I didn't really look for that. I just knew I wanted to make one based on this size of cardstock. So that's what I did. And this is the cute little guy. He's 1 1/4 inches square on the base. And this part is 1 3/4 inches tall, I believe. Yes, 1 3/4 inches tall to the shoulders of the milk carton. All right, so those are my single sheet projects. You can do 2 of them for 1 card base if both sides are decorated, if the front and the back is decorated like mine are. Now I also made 3 projects that were with the entire card base, and one of them was this one. It's a cute little satchel type thing, and I used the pop closure, but I thought I'd experiment with some different shapes for the pop closure. And this one I did a star, and I have some M&Ms in there now, and I just decorated it to be the star you are, more for masculine, but it would work for girls too. I also made this cute little bag, and it was made with one of the card bases. Now my third project I made was this one, and this was kind of like a little, I guess it wouldn't be like a French fry box, maybe more like a pocket box or something, and I created it. What I found would fit in it were these butterfly sticky notes from the Dollar Tree, and I tucked a little gel pen in there as well. Now I decorated all these very simply because I wanted the boxes and the projects to stand out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 3 that were 1/2 of a card base today, and then the next video will show you the ones that were a complete card base. So I hope you like these projects, and I hope you find them useful to get rid of some of your extra card bases around. And let's go ahead and get started. Now let me mention one thing about cutting card bases. When I use my sliding blade trimmer, sometimes it doesn't like where the score line is, and it'll start bogging up there, and it'll start creating a lot of like tears in the paper and really kind of broken up paper. If that happens with the paper that you're using of the cardstock, then go ahead and cut it with either a guillotine trimmer or cut it right along the line with a pair of scissors, and you can prevent that. Most of my projects that use this will have a chance to either hide that edge or to trim it off so it doesn't show when we get to that point in the project. Much of it is actually hidden away. So go ahead and do that. Cut a card base in half, because for this project we're starting with a piece that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're going to go ahead and put the 4 1/4, the 5 1/2 inch side first, and we're going to score it at 2 3/8 and 3 1/8. Then we'll turn it to the side, the good side first, and then we're going to score it at 3/4 inches on both sides. So 3/4 inches on this side. I'm going to flip that around and score it at 3/4 inches on this side. Now I like the scallop edge on that one, so I'm going to go ahead and do a scallop, but if you don't want to do a scallop, you can leave the edge straight. You can put some washi tape on it, Or you could actually score a 1/4 of an inch down on both sides and just fold it so that your inside color is just a rim on the basket on the outside color. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and scallop these and be right back. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold and burnish our score lines. Now, a note about folding and burnishing the card bases. Some of the cardstock and the paper that they use for the card bases actually cracks if you handle it too much. And as soon as you start doing it, you'll get to know which ones will. I found the ones that had the linen texture on it tended to crack more than the others. So just be careful, and you might want to just pinch fold those and use your fingers instead of a bone folder. All right, so we have a 1 inch or 3/4 inch section in the middle with a square tab on both sides. Go ahead and cut those straight across on that rectangle side and just slightly notch in on that square side. Okay, now as we put it together, we'll find that sometimes if you do scallop the edge, it will interfere with the other side. If that is the case, just on the ones that are going to be underneath, just cut those scallops off so they don't interfere. So let's go ahead and glue it together. We'll put some adhesive on the inside of the tabs. And on the outside of the front side tabs. So if there's one side that looks better than the other, go ahead and use that one as your front. Okay, cute little basket. One thing I will mention is that if you look at my two baskets, this one's a 1/4 of an inch smaller. And what happened was when I was trying the sliding trimmer, it kind of gobbled up the paper and left some tears. So I just moved it over a 1/4 of an inch, and I just sliced off a 1/4 of an inch on the side that was a bit chewed up. So it ended up being 4 inches by 5.5 instead of the full 4 1/4. And if you follow the directions, it doesn't matter. You can still make a similar box, just a 1/4 inch smaller. All right, I've got my handle here, and what I'm going to do is glue it right to the outside. However, if you want to glue them on the inside, you certainly could do that as well. Okay, so there's my little basket. I'm going to go ahead and decorate it, and I'll be right back. All right, so I just did a very simple decoration on it, and here's my little basket with the handles on it. And I just used an 1.5 inch circle with 2 little oval punchies. Actually, I have a small oval punch that I used. All right, so that's my first project. Let's get ready for the second. All right, for my second project, I'm doing this one, which is the little crayon box. And it holds a Ghirardelli, although it is, let's see, 1/2 inch by 2 inches, 2 inches wide, 1/2 inch deep, and 2 3/4 of an inch tall. And I actually did punch a little butterfly. I actually used that same butterfly on the inside for my little sentiment. Decorated it simply with washi tape and put my Ghirardelli in there. So let me show you how I did that one. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put the 5.5 inch side up first. And let's go ahead and score that one at 1/2 of an inch, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, and 5 inches. Turn it to the side. Now, if you have a pattern to the cardstock, you want the up to be on the left guideline at this point. So go ahead and score it at 1/2 inch, at 1 inch, and at 3 3/4 inches. All right, so let's go ahead and gently, now as I said, this is the more linen one. This one does tend to crack a bit more for me in my hands. I don't remember the brand name. I had taken everything out of the boxes in my craft room. So I'm just going to very gently, I'm barely going to put my bone folder on it. Okay, so what we're going to do, we have a 1/2 inch sections on both sides. One of those will be your tab. So go ahead and cut that bottom part off of that 1/2 inch section. And you also do not need those top 2 sections on that same section. But we are going to use this as our front of the box. It's going to be the top of the box that folds over. So cut down this score line on this side very carefully, just a nice straight cut, because that'll be the side of the top of the box. Now because this is the top, we're going to cut down also very straight on the other side of that section, but we will use the next section as a tab. So cut down straight on that section and go ahead and trim off that outside little part, and then just make a very slight wedge into both of the sides of that one. I say very slight because if you need to make more of it, you can, but it helps hold the top of the box up. All right, so on this one, we'll need this one as a tab as well. So again, cut straight down there. Cut that last section off because we don't need that, and this very slightly wedge on both sides. Okay, and now this part we do not need at all, so carefully cut that one off right inside the score line. All right, so this is what we have. Oops, I forgot the bottom part, so let's go ahead and cut our bottom part up. So cut, again, we're going to make little notches into the squares, and we're going to try to cut straighter on the rectangle sides of all the score lines. Okay, so this is what we have so far. The first thing we're going to do is round the corners on the top of our box. The next thing we're going to do is cut a tiny little finger notch in the front of the box. And now, if you want to punch a little shape in there, you can go right ahead. And remember, this is going to be the front of our box. So just go ahead, and if you have room to fold that little tab up and push your punch onto there to punch, you can. And I would just feed it gently over the top of that and punch where I wanted to. For this one, I'm not going to. I'm going to actually decorate it a different way. So let's go ahead and finish putting our box together. And on this tab, we'll put some adhesive. Let's see if my Tombow Extreme will work for me today. And fold that over. And we'll line up this side with that one. Okay, so let's go ahead and fold our top in, and then we'll go ahead and glue the bottom. Now, as you'll see, that was that rough side of it, and actually, because this is the front, that one will be glued in first. So we're going to glue that one in, and let me use my liquid adhesive this time. And the front flap will go last, just to make it look neat from the front. Okay, so that's our box. Let me go ahead and decorate it, and I shall be right back to show you what I did. Alright, so I went ahead and decorated this one in a birthday theme, and I just simply put some washi tape around it. I used some little punchies. It was a balloon punch from Martha Stewart, and tied them with some linen thread, and then put a little bow on there just to make a little festive statement. Alright, so that was our second one. Now let's go ahead and do our third. Alright, so my third one, using 1/2 of a card base, or something that's just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, is this cute little milk carton. And it is 1 1/4 inches square on the bottom, and this square section, rectangle section, is 1 3/4 inches tall. It will fit 1 Ferrero Rocher, or about 5 Hershey's Kisses, or any similar sized candy in there. It just makes a cute little gift just to leave for someone. And again, using just 1/2 of the card base. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put if you have an up, make it to the left. If you have the good side of the cardstock, put that one on the left, the card base, and go ahead and score this at 1 1/4 and at 3 inches. Now we're actually going to flip it vertically, just like this, with the same side on the cardstock, and we'll score it at 3/8 of an inch. And the reason we flip it is because it makes the top of the milk carton box fold the way it needs to, just a little bit better. All right, so let's flip that back that way, and this 3/8 inch section, turn up to the top now. We're going to score it all the way down at every 1 1/4 inches. So at 1 1/4, 2 1/2, 3 3/4, and 5. Now, because we need the triangle on the top of our sides of our milk carton, we're going to score it just to the first score line at 1 7/8. And that's just to the first score line. And 4 3/8. All right, now we do need to make a couple more score lines. We're not quite done yet, but we'll need a ruler and our scoring tool. And from the ends of those partial score lines down to the left and the right corners of the bottom of the section that they're attached to. So go ahead and put that down like that. And I'm going to grab my other scoring tool. And we'll score from the corner up to the bottom of the mark. And on this side as well, from the corner to the bottom of the mark. And in this section too. All right, so let's fold and burnish our score lines, all the straight ones. You don't need to do the angle ones at this point. Okay, and remember that one went down, but this very top one will go back. So let me turn it this way so I can put it back a little bit. Okay, it doesn't have to go all the way back because it's just going to sit like this at the top of the carton. All right, and then we have that last score line. All right, so that 1/2 inch section on the side is our glue tab. We don't need the bottom one, so go ahead and cut up and cut that one away with a very slight notch. And then just cut up each of these score lines on the bottom. Okay, and this one actually comes together very easily. Now you can, if you want to, try to just gently prod those. Or you can wait until your box is together. Either way is fine. So we'll go ahead and put some adhesive on that glue tab. Let's fold that over, and we're going to line up the other side with it, making sure our score lines are matching up. Okay. I like the top of my box to be rounded. So at this point, while it's flat, it's easier to get it in there. Now, if I've forgotten it, I actually have done this as well. Once I get the bottom glued together, it's easier when it's flat though. But it can be done. Where there's a will, there's a way. All right, so let's go ahead and glue our bottom together. That's my seam. It'll go to the back. And that back tab will go before the front tab. The front tab will go last, so it's neat. All right, go ahead and squeeze that into a milk carton shape. And there's our little milk carton. All right, let me go ahead and decorate that one, and I'll be right back. All right, so this is the milk carton I just decorated. I went ahead and used a 3/4 of an inch scallop circle, and I stamped my little sentiment on. I actually cut this one out by hand because it has a circle around it, so it was easy to cut by hand. Put it on a little banner, and then I used the little library clips to close it. I was trying to use some mini binder clips, but my little legs of my binder clips kept popping off. And then I went ahead and decorated with some ribbon. On this one I actually used, what did I use? About the Label, and this is a retired stamp set from Stampin' Up! Many years now retired, but it actually had a set of mini punches that went with it, so I went ahead and stamped that and punched that right out, and went ahead and put the library clip on there as well. Okay, so these were my first 3 projects using 1/2 of the pre-made card bases, or if you don't have a pre-made card base, then just use a piece of cardstock or pattern paper that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I hope you enjoyed these projects, and the next week that will come will be the ones that actually use the complete card base, including the 4 1/4 inch score line on it, so you can hopefully use up your card bases too. So I hope you enjoyed these projects. and I hope you liked the video. If you did, please subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to be notified of new videos when I post them. If you need more information on this project or others I have done, please go to rejoiceandcreate.com. And as always, until we meet again, I hope your days are blessed. Bye!